Hello, everybody. Nice that you took your coffee. Nice that you came here. Some people will still come. Technology-wise, some PowerPoints are currently put up by Linus. I will be chairing the first session. Madeline will give us a welcome, and we'll have our usual round of introduction of who is here, who is expected to come. If you don't have the program, you might now run outside next to these name tags. There's a program that might be useful. That's freshly printed, the latest version. Still, again, some changes are there. Roshan from Gates Foundation will come after lunch, and then we'll give him a slot. Okay. So I think. For me, I've been here I think out of the 17th meeting, I've been at maybe at 10 or 12, something of that sort. I've not been here the last 3 years, but I'm very happy to see you all again and to see what happened in these 3 years. Madeleine, will you welcome us? Yes.
So. This is my task. I have been here slightly more meetings than Arne, so welcome all long travelers that have made it to Stockholm some days earlier before the World Water Week and to join us at this SuSanA meeting. It's also wonderful to see all our colleagues in Sweden coming back again. Some we have not seen for some years, so it's really nice that you come. Unfortunately, all of us that really likes to welcome you to this meeting and who usually takes very well care of you is not here with us today. I will start to inform you that Cecilia Ruben is not with us any longer. We got the message that she passed away some weeks ago, or a week ago, and we are all still quite shocked. Cecilia Ruben has been one of the longest employed SCI employees, and she has been working. She has been extremely dedicated networker. I think she's more known outside of Sweden than she might be in Sweden. She has worked very hard for sustainable sanitation and not least ecological sanitation. She and her colleagues in India and with the sustainable sanitation colleagues also managed to get ecological sanitation into the total sanitation campaign a few years ago. I think that was one of the happiest moments in life. And she would be very happy to see you all here. So before, we think that many of you also will miss her this week because we are already missing her a lot. We have prepared a table for condolences, so you can write her a small message. And this book will be brought to her daughter who lives in New York. But so before we start this meeting, I would just like us to dedicate 1 minute to Cecilia Ruben and for all in her memory. Thank you. I know that Cecilia is with us, but not physically. 17th SuSanA meeting in Stockholm here. This is wonderful because at the 12th SuSanA meeting we had a crisis discussion about where would the next SuSanA meeting in Stockholm be hosted, who would host it, who would not, because we were financed, we could do that from finance from SIDA for a long time of years, and And suddenly the big project was closing and there was this very worried discussion. But listen, we managed to organize the 14th, the 16th, and now we are organizing the 17th meeting. And hopefully we can continue to do so, because we continue, SCI continue to be dedicated to sustainable development, and sustainable sanitation is really one part of that. So we are here today to take care of you, the Stockholm team, with Nelson, Kim, Arno, Linus, two brilliant interns, Patricia and Katarina, who will be tweeting all over the world, so we will be connected. Hopefully we are also connected with the word later on Streamline. I don't know if we have some technical problems, but this is filmed, so you will be able to see it later on the webpage. We are also very happy because we have a Stockholm Center director with us, and he will say some words about SCI and SuSanA. 2012-2013 was an extremely important year. We have been discussing all different SuSanA organizations in different forums. We have been discussing a new global partnership and what will future be the sustainable development goals. And I think we have been connecting to each other, and we have been discussing what shall we do with certain targets and goals. And there is now very interesting writing in these new goals that are proposed to the UN Secretary General. The word wastewater appears and reuse appears. And I think that has been an effort that has been going on in conversation, not least on our SuSanA forum. So that is a really interesting work, and we can see some footprint in the discussions where we have been acting and interacting. It has also been a great year because Peter Morgan, who is a long-term SuSanA member, and SuSanA platform has been very instrumental to bring forward Peter Morgan's research and the solutions and sustainable sanitation solutions. Even through the SuSanA platform, we have managed to translate Peter Morgan's books into Chinese, so you can imagine how many millions of people are reached by his science. He is now the laureate for World Water Prize, so the World Water Week will also put sanitation on the agenda. Very nice. Another dedicated SuSanA member and is a World Toilet Organization, Jack Sim, and he has worked a long time with advocacy, and we actually managed through his organization, we didn't, but through his organization and through his really hard work, the World Toilet Day is now a UN World Toilet Day. So we have a day for our own celebration of sanitation and put it on the agenda. So this is a lot of things that has happened this year, and we hope that, but all this fast development also require that we have a consolidated platform. And this meeting, I think, we will work with ourselves and how we now go forward. And I really welcome you now to a new, hopefully very productive SuSanA meeting here in Stockholm. Yeah.
Thank you, Madeleine. Is the mic on? I think I can as well shift to this one.
Oh, yeah.
Like this, it looks cool, huh? Okay. Thank you, Madeleine. Yes, there's the very sad moment with Cecilia. We have Graham, who is not coming because a child is born, and he's looking for his child and family. We have the prize of Peter Morgan, and we have this day to go. And I'm welcoming the director of SEI, who as well give us some guiding works. Please.
So thank you, Chair, so much for the introduction, and welcome everybody today to the 17th annual SuSanA meeting here in Stockholm in connection with the World Water Week, and of course welcome to these premises. I think we are in a very interesting environment. As you know, apparently this has been organized here for now 7 times here in this in this venue, and we are at the former School of Agriculture here in Sweden, which has a long history. So the buildings here have all sorts of connection to different activities related to agriculture and veterinary medicine. And of course, while we are looking at the system thinking of health and sanitation, this is quite a fitting topic. Next year, just as a matter of information to you, we hope to welcome you again, but that would be in our new offices that we are establishing ourselves in the central part of Stockholm as from December this year. So we are evolving our work in this area, and we are investing a lot in creating good venues for these type of events to receive our international partners. As we know, thanks in part to SuSanA's dedicated work to contribute to the achievements of the MDGs to promote sanitation systems, we see a rather strong progress in this area, in spite of the challenges, of course, that we see on the ground, with so many people lacking proper sanitation, health and water issues. But what is clear, and I think what is very, very promising here, is that the ongoing, very intensive debate on the post-MDG agenda, in the Sustainable Development Agenda, which we talk about now, as with universal goals and objectives for all the global community, water issues, sanitation, access are now on top of the agenda again. And that's, of course, where they should be. And another example of this promising type of movement is, of course, the recognition of Peter Morgan as the Water Prize laureate. So I think the main question that one would ask ourselves now in this gathering of excellence here in this room is, how would we now support that process in terms of making sure that solutions, what we have learned so far, is really entering into the Sustainable Development Agenda, so that we get this firmly into these documents and can then benefit from that in our work with our partners and customers and clients and friends. SEI, as you know, is one of the 20 organizations that have been helping out to establish SuSanA since its inception. We're very happy about that. And our contribution to that space has been to develop tools and approaches primarily in the area of ecological sanitation and the system thinking and related to the nexus that we're discussing today. And we are very happy, of course, from the support we have received from SIDA in that work, and also now lately, which is again another, I think, new recognition of the changing landscape, from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in promoting knowledge sharing to a wider and different audience than perhaps we have been working with before. So we thank those organizations very much for that. And SCI here at the Institute, we undertake basic research, development, we do applied science, we look at assessments and studies, and we also do quite a lot of sort of advisory service related activities, all in the area of supporting policy change and knowledge generation. And that's our unique situation, that we can move all the way from basic core research all the way to advisory service, and we really would like to be in that area, and in this particular field is very fitting indeed. And we have been doing this since we were founded by the Swedish Parliament in 1987, so that's almost 25 years next year, and we are very proud to be in that area and continue to do that. Over that time and period, for those who do not know us very much, we have a very international office. You are now in the Stockholm office here. We have about 50, 60 researchers working here in Stockholm, but we also have now an office since just a couple of months back in Nairobi, Kenya, situated at the ICRAF institution, so it's well connected to the UN compound and the work there. We have our offices in York and Oxford in UK, in Boston and California in US, Tallinn, Estonia, and in Bangkok in Thailand. So in all these different areas, we have teams working on sort of the local markets with knowledge on the ground and with also different expertise. And together we can then pool knowledge in support of your work. Next year, we are also beginning to establish work on our new strategy. After 25 years, now sustainability might not be it's a topic which is well entrenched in society. So the question is, how do we move forward that agenda in a new way? But the one thing we do know is that the issue for us on ecological sanitation, health issues will be at the core of this strategy for sure. That will be very much in this area. We are in that area, I believe, very much interested in the area of implementation. So how can we, and this is I think where the network could be very strong, scale up technologies that we know work already today in different contexts? And how can we also look at new business models for this? How can we engage local entrepreneurs, other actors in terms of rolling out this technology that we know have to be there and where in partnership with the public sector. So it seems to be quite a lot of a challenge which might be less in technology but might be much more in the area of how to increase acceptance, how to find sustainable models for rolling out this at a large scale. And more on the soft side, that is. And from a research perspective then, we will focus quite a lot on the water, energy, food nexus, and I'm sure you will hear from Linus and other colleagues on that topic today. That is, how can we make sure we also contribute to the local nexus in terms of energy production, in terms of fertilizers for agriculture and so forth. And we do have, for those that are interested in that area, we have a paper in the CV World Water Week report also on the nexus moving from very local up to even global level. So we have presented some of our thinking in that document. So finally then, for us, for SCI, we can only succeed in our mission if we work in partnerships across the globe, if we can pool our human and financial capital across this whole great community and to increase the complexity of these challenges. And with 207 members, I understand, and growing in the Alliance, what is a better area to be in? What would be a stronger partnership than that? And also, as we can see, the mission that the Alliance has is exactly what we also would like to do. So we are very happy about that, and we look very much forward to be here, to organize this meeting again. And I'm delighted to the team, the SCI team that has worked so hard to put this together with all of you. And with that, I'd like to thank you so much, and I hope to see you also in the World Water Week, where we will be present in lots of seminars and on water management and sustainability over the week. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jakob, very much for these really warm and strong words of support, and that you are as well planning to look into the next 25 years, and that this fits as well to SuSanA's current, let's say, orientation phase. We had in this room large delegations from India, and in another meeting large delegations from African countries, like state secretaries and so on. In the larger picture, I feel we are after the International Year of Sanitation that brought SuSanA into existence, and we're before 2015, where another peak of interest in sanitation might happen, and we're sort of reorienting us how to prepare for that. And there's usually the round of introduction of the participants, and before Trevor gives us an overview of SuSanA, which we always do because there might people who are wondering who is Arne, who is Graham, who is Cecilia, and who are new to SuSanA as well. We want to know who's here, so I would say table-wise we can just, you say your name, your affiliation, and as we are not 150 people today, you might say one sentence or word. What is your interest, or why you're here, or what is the best outcome of the day? And I would say we start somewhere in the corner. We start with Robert, who just came. Yes, and the mic goes along with the...
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Gensch from the German Toilet Organization, and currently leading also one of the working groups, the Working Group 5 on food security and productive sanitation.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Sundman. I'm from Architectural Environmental Strategies, and I'm new to SuSanA, so I'm basically here to hear more about the network.
Thank you. Maybe we finish that corner, otherwise the mic goes there and some people are left out.
Good morning, Joanne Orevik from the University of Wisconsin at Whitewater, interested in all matters of sustainability, especially in terms of our lakes, and I'm here for the World Water Week.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Görkem from Uppsala University, a new graduate student. I'm mostly focusing on rural development and biogas. And I'm very interested to hear about those ideas.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm John Sauer from Water for People, and I'm the co-manager of our Sanitation as a Business program.
Good morning, Shauna Curry with COST, Center for Affordable Water and Sanitation Technology.
Yeah, I'm Nelson Ekane from SEI, working with Sustainable Sanitation.
Anshatta, Austrian Eco Sanitation Club.
Hi everyone, I'm Carl from ACF and I'm currently leading the working group 12, which is the wash and nutrition working group.
Hi, good morning. My name is Imad Agi, together with my colleague William, representing Ecolu. We do sustainable toilet technology. We have developed one. We have a brochure if you want somewhere.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Najim from University of Science and Technology, Beijing. But at the same time, I'm working for ACF International Mongolia. And my main interest is ecological sanitation, of all the sustainable sanitation, and to learn from you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Serena Arduino from Accra CCS, based in Italy, but supporting local organizations in Africa, Latin America, and Asia.
Good morning, my name is Blanca Sandoval. I am from Colombia and represent a local NGO, Altereco. Thank you.
I'm Babar Khan, representing Mountain Glacier Protection Organization, Pakistan. I'm new here, so mostly networking and learning more.
Hi, my name is Annie. I work with SIDA. Well, I'm just new there, so therefore I want to learn more about SuSanA. So.
Okay, fine, perfect.
My name is Ylva Schwinn. I'm also from SIDA. I've been working for a few years with SIDA, with water and sanitation, but I haven't actually been working with the SuSanA, so I'm also new to this.
Hi, I'm Patricia Villarrubia, and I'm doing an internship here in SEI. So if you need some help with something, let me know.
Okay, great.
Jan-Olof Drangert, mainly dealing with training, and of late I'm also building eco houses.
Good morning, my name is Tina. I'm a team member of the GIZ Sustainable Sanitation Program, and I'm also a part of the SuSanA secretariat.
Good morning, I'm Rahul Ingle. I also work for GIZ program Sustainable Sanitation, and I lead the working group on renewable energies and climate change, as well as I'm a co-lead for the cities working group.
Hello, I'm Ekaterina. I work as an intern for SIANI, and I help out the SuSanA meeting with communications.
Hello everyone, my name is Thilo Panzerbieter. I'm with the German Toilet Organization. Have been following the SuSanA since the very beginning, and it's always a pleasure to be here in Stockholm at SEI.
Good morning everybody. My name is Jonathan Parkinson and I work for the International Water Association. I coordinate our urban sanitation program and I'm also lead on the Finance and Economics Working Group.
Good morning, my name is Dorothy Spuller. I'm from Switzerland, working with CCON on sustainable sanitation water management.
Short introduction. My name is Madeleine Fogde and I work here at SEI. I work actually with SIANI, which is agriculture, Swedish International Agriculture Network, but also with sustainable sanitation.
Hello, my name is Linus Dagerskog and I work with SCI since a few years, but now I'm mainly focusing on a PhD in agroecology in Ethiopia, which of course has a very important productive sanitation component.
So my name is Konrad Tombansen. I'm the director of the GIZ Sustainable Sanitation Program, the headquarters of which one column is to assure the secretariat of SuSanA. And that's it.
Hello, my name is Sasha Kramer, and I live and work in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, where I co-founded an organization called Soil that's been doing ecological sanitation there since 2006. And it's wonderful to see so many people that I've communicated with by email but have never seen in person. So.
Good morning, Arno Rosemarin from Stockholm Environment Institute. And EcoSan is my favorite thing, and I think with that as a basis, we're now into risk reduction and resilient water and sanitation.
Okay, Trevor will... Hi, my name is Trevor Sarge. I work at the GIZ program Sustainable Sanitation, and yeah, I do 100% on SuSanA Secretariat, so I do a lot of communication to all of you. And yeah.
Okay, thank you everybody. I think now the floor is prepared for you, Trevor, to give us an introduction to SuSanA on a general level. And me, myself, I'm Arne Panessa. I'm working with GIZ. I'm the country manager for India and responsible for networks in Asia on water, energy, transport, and climate-related aspects.
Right. One thing, perhaps, while we wait for the presentation to get going, just curious, how many folks in the room is their first time at a SuSanA meeting? Just a show of hands. Okay. Great. This is exactly what we need to carry on growing the network.
That's why we always need the introduction presentation.
No, I can. Right, so I'll be giving you a quick overview of what SuSanA is. Some of the guys who've been here before will know some of these slides. So, what is SuSanA? SuSanA is basically an open international network. It was formed back in 2007 in response to coordinate the effort of organizations for the International Year of Sanitation in 2008. The aim basically is to achieve or add to the achievement of the MDGs, in particular on sanitation, of course. Currently, size-wise, there's 213 organizations, and currently up to 2,800 members, which is also rapidly growing. And these have all acknowledged the SuSanA vision, and the vision contains the 5 sustainability criteria as defined by SuSanA. And currently we have 12 thematic working groups. Right, and so these 5 sustainability criteria, I think this is quite special. Sorry. The 5 sustainability criteria, I think, is quite special, as there was a lot of work put into the vision document that contains them, and this really is the unique selling proposition, so to speak, of SuSanA. And the 5 sustainability criteria, just the headings, are basically on health and hygiene, environmental and natural resources, technology operations, finance and economics, and social culture and institutional aspects. And when these five sustainability criteria are taken into consideration when planning sanitation projects, programs, initiatives, we believe that all aspects of sustainability will then be covered, and there's a bigger chance of success. Right, just the definition of sustainable sanitation as far as SuSanA is concerned. A sustainable sanitation system is one which is economically viable, socially acceptable, is technically and institutionally appropriate, and protects the environment and natural resources. And there's always, no one has reached sustainability yet, so we're all working to get there, and so we must just continue our efforts, basically. Just a quick overview. I'm not going to go through all the points. This is just how SuSanA has evolved from a meeting perspective over the years. There have been 17 meetings and they've been spread all around the world. And the next slide just shows you that geographically. So you can see we've touched almost all the continents. So we need to organize one in Australia still, and then we're done. How big is SuSanA? So we have 213 partner organizations at the moment. From 1 year ago, that's 11% increase. We have 2,800 members, and this is quite an interesting fact. From 1 year ago, that's an 85% increase. When we were standing here last year, we were talking about 1,500 members. So there has been rapid increase on that front. And then these two graphics, I'm not going to talk through every point, but the idea there is just to give you sort of a feel that there is a lot of diversity in this network, from the partner organization's perspective as well as from the individual members. We have representation in all types of institutions and all types of sectors. And then what is SuSanA's reach? Currently the reach via our mailing list is 4,000 people. That's gone up 30% since last year. Facebook and Twitter are just two social media channels, and there we've seen as well 40% and 110% increase on followers within the last 12 months. So how is SuSanA currently funded? This is the current situation, and we will be talking about this quite a lot or it'll come up in conversation today a few times about how we're going to move forwards with this. But currently, SuSanA is basically it's based on voluntary contributions. It doesn't have a legal structure or a budget. The individual members and partner organizations contribute from their own budgets and expenses for whatever initiative they use the platform for. We have core funding from the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development for the SuSanA secretariat, which is held currently by GIZ. And as of last year, we also have an impulse of financing via SEI for the integration of the sanitation network, which discusses all those Reinvent the Toilet Challenge grantees, grants and some exciting innovation on the SuSanA forum. And that's a very exciting development, and we're very happy that it has taken place. I suppose you could also say, what have we achieved? And these are just two examples of what this network has achieved. We have all these working groups, which is coming in a bit, and they've worked over a number of years to put together what we finally have in a compilation, 13 fact sheets on all the working group topics. And in addition to that, we've also then got 71 case studies of real projects that have happened on the ground with real lessons learned, and where they have some of these case studies are on failures and some of them on successes. So, it remained reality there. Further examples of outputs: we've got a large online library, a vibrant discussion forum, a large photo database, and then a vibrant and supportive community. There's always a question: what have the impacts of SuSanA been? These are just some ideas of what impacts are. When you're talking about a network this size, not everyone writes the secretariat and says, "Hey, this happened because of SuSanA." So sometimes we have to just gauge what we think the impact has been. So I mean, one impact which I think was mentioned by Jacob Granit was that basically the sustainable sanitation is firmly on the agenda now, and I think SuSanA has added and contributed to that significantly. Other players have also picked up on this theme in the last few years, and notably Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is one of the most prominent. And then SuSanA meetings and side events have moved from being on the edge and outside of conferences and events to being in the main program. And there's a couple examples of where we've been in the main program. And lastly, last year we were firmly in the World Water Week program. To date, SuSanA has had 5 roles. We'll be talking about the strategy process a bit later, where these roles have been assessed and looked at a bit more closely. But to date, the 5 roles of SuSanA have basically been, I'll take you through rather a bit more visual. A coordination platform, so bringing people together so that we can coordinate our efforts and not duplicate work and form teams, cross-organizational teams. And then working platform, so we have all these working groups, and these are all the working groups that basically, other than working group 12, which is new, that have produced these fact sheets in the compilation. And those are the working group leads of the 11 working groups that contributed to the fact sheet compilation. Next year you'll be in, I promise, Carl, for working group 12. And then SuSanA is also a sounding board. A number of SuSanA partner organizations have used the SuSanA community to get feedback, input on publications that they have put together. And there are a couple examples. And then SuSanA as a catalyst from commitment to action, aim, steps, and action. And there we've had questionable. It's one of the roles that were put in question if it was formulated 100%. So that'll come up later as well. And then so yeah, that's just that. And that's basically my presentation. Are there any questions? Just understanding questions, just quickly about the presentation. No. Great.
Well, you're still invited to ask questions. I would thank you, Trevor. I'd like to add that now you can just show very cool. This is the 5 criteria and so on. We were sort of fighting, or we were quite. It was quite a discussion, and it was just before the International Year of Sanitation. We said that, please, there are so many different views on this and that. Make something inclusive where we all can say that's it. And it was a fight to get that vision document going. And I think it was surprising then how much it has been copied into policies or into programs or into these sentences you find here and there and there. And so really it has influenced the discourse around sanitation. I think 5 years again, we were as well saying that sanitation is more than a toilet, and now we don't need to say it. It's clear it's a system, and it has this systems approach, and as well as the hardware and the software part of it. So I think for me it's very interesting after 3 years to look at this again and to see how cool you can present it now and talk to it. Still, if there are questions or other curious, you're welcome to ask them now, or we'll continue. Yeah? Okay, there's one.
So what do you attribute to the growth rate? Is it the partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? Is it something new that's happening? The growth in the members?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the Gates Foundation getting involved, particularly on the forum, as of November last year, had a huge impact. Membership growth was steady and was going really nicely, but as soon as the Gates got involved, and you can't discuss and post anything on the forum without being a SuSanA member, there's been an absolute spike and a really uphill growth as far as membership is concerned. What we had previously, I think, was a large amount of passive consumers that didn't need to register. They consumed the resources, enjoyed the resources, used them, but didn't have to, acknowledge, so to speak.
And I think maybe why this is so successful is as well because in the beginning the discussion was there, how is it with reuse, how is it with ecological sanitation and so on. That was seen in the broader picture, was seen as one possible innovation in sanitation. And some liked it, some disliked it, so discussion was on, but no doubt it was sort of a new approach or something that you could call an innovative approach. Now what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is doing is invent the new toilet and look for innovations in sanitation. So it perfectly fits to SuSanA as a network who is trying to get things on the ground more sustainable, but as well says that we have been so frustrated so many times that sanitation simply doesn't work. So we have to be open for any innovative idea that somebody says that, well, I have a new idea how it might work. And I think this is the place where it is, and that's why it's a perfect match as well between Bill and Melinda. And is that the next point on the Is it Arno or is it?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think that was making the floor for you, Arno, isn't it?
That's great.
Arno will now
Check.
tell us what exactly you are doing, we are doing with this Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Huh?
Yep.
That's what you're doing?
Oh, good. Fantastic. One of the reasons, my name's Arno Rosemarin, SEI. One of the reasons why I think SuSanA is getting more attention is because there is actually after 10 or 12 years, we've broken down the barriers between people and feces. And there's actually a dialogue about feces. There's much more of a dialogue about parasites, the risks, and the benefits. And even you hear about transplantation of feces between humans in order to stop diarrhea. Serious cases of diarrhea that are stopped within 24 hours after transplantation. It's this last phase in human development, and I believe SuSanA has done a lot of that. The Gates Foundation came to us in 2007 and 2008 to learn. And they told us they wanted to specialize in vaccination to stop these viral and some bacterial diseases. We told them that that's good, but that's not enough. And if you really want to stop fecal oral vector-based diseases, you actually have to use sanitation systems. And not just toilets, but actually systems that work. And with hand washing, and they thought, oh, that's much too challenging. But after, I would say, 5 years, they took this thing on. They became the leaders in innovation. So when they called for the reinvent the toilet, and the prize winners were last year, so it was like a 5-year program of getting this going. And I think we've all learned something from it. 10 years ago, we would have called that an EcoSan-based competition. Now it's called Reinvent the Toilet. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they in the wash sector, they're up around $350 million US now. Up to 2011, it was about 265 million. They are a major player, especially in the innovation side of things. And then they ran this thing called the Reinvent the Toilet Challenge, the Global Challenges, and there's other grant schemes. The challenge they asked was, the world was, create new toilets. Think out of the box. These are the criteria for the competition, that the toilets would work, they actually reduce pathogens. And I can tell you that most of the pit latrines in the world store feces, and they don't actually kill them. They don't kill the pathogens in them. Most of the water-based systems transport and dilute these pathogens, but the actual removal rates vary very, very much. The other criteria was recovery, some energy or nutrients. Interesting stuff. You think about biogas. You think about nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Those are EcoSan type principles. It has to be able to operate on off the grid. That means water and electricity. That's a big challenge. That means any system that has a water pump in it that needs to be connected to electricity, that is not acceptable in this competition. Would have to generate its own power through wind or solar, if it needs power. And then the cost of less than 5 cents per user per day. That's quite a challenge for most of the, if you like, sewer type systems, but definitely doable for on-site type systems. And then the other one, which is this is the criteria for sustainability. It has to actually be acceptable to the users, and they may be high or low income, and that's a global criteria. So a lot of people actually, this picture here is I think a Norwegian suggestion of how to combine a number of dry toilet systems to a single collector system in the center. So it's just some interesting architecture. But there were many interesting results from this, and I won't go through the actual competition. That wasn't my job here, and I think you'll hear more about it when the representative from the foundation comes a little bit later. That's Roshan. So in 2012, after these about 80 odd projects were going, funded and operating, the foundation had this call for tenders to provide some kind of outreach capacity. They felt confident with these projects. They wanted to take them out to the world. And we responded to that call for tenders. And we created a little consortium, and we proposed to link the SuSanA Forum to showcase these projects. And the team is made up of myself, Elizabeth von Munk, who used to be actually at the secretariat with GIZ. Her little consultancy is called Stella now. Dorothy, there she is, from SECON. Nelson Akani and Kim Anderson from SCI, and then an IT expert, Stefan Eiser from Dotwerkstatt. So that team helped the foundation move these 83 project grants and all the organizations onto the SuSanA system. And of course, it's not been something that we can do ourselves. We've been working very closely with Trevor and the rest of the secretariat. So it's been this kind of linked team activity. The assignment that we have, it's not a very big grant actually. Most of the grants that in the WASH sector from the foundation are for the competition. They got $100,000, and then they could add to it, get an extension. But some of the larger grants are in the $1 million class. This particular assignment is $230,000, and it's a little over a year of work to provide these projects with some sort of global outreach and to move them off of the closed discussion group, which the foundation actually had on their own server, was to get it out into the public, onto the internet, through the SuSanA Forum. And the interesting thing about the forum is you can participate in it as a user, but it's also being viewed, if you like, by people on the internet. It's Google searchable. So there's a lot of exposure for these things. It's out there, if you like. And we were also tasked with launching these 83 projects on the SuSanA, putting out the reports and presentations. So we're working with each of the grantees and encouraging them to do more outreach. Some are more happy than others to do that. Some people that get research money say, no, that's my business. I will publish when I feel like it, and I don't think I have time for you. Some people would say, yeah, great stuff, we'll get involved. So the whole thing is coaxing and talking, and it's digging in and networking. This little picture on the side was my favorite of all of the toilets that were in the competition. You can see it's actually made out of bicycle parts. It's an auger. And if you know what an auger is, it's a thing, something you drill into soil to take soil up or to move things laterally. This is the biggest problem with sludge that is dry, or feces mixtures or solid waste. That is, you can't move things laterally. As a result, we just have straight drops in most of our on-site systems. What this does is it allows you to build these systems in inside buildings, retrofit them, multi-story, and you move the feces out to the edge of the building, and you can have a chute added onto the outside. This is from Ecuador. It got the best prize for dry toilets. It didn't win the prize. The winning toilet was a bit of a high-tech thing. It was solar, and it was electrolysis from Cal State University, I believe. Results of this project, okay, what we did was we classified the 83 projects into 5 subtopics, and you can see those on the lower, on the x-axis. So resource recovery, that's 28 projects, processing technologies of different kinds, so a classification called user interface, another one about fecal sludge, transport, I believe that's transport, yeah. And then enabling environment, that's like if you like a management. Okay, most of the projects are actually in North and South America. And then there's a chunk in Europe. So this was an open competition. I think it's gone through 2 or 3 phases, and this was, if you like, the beginning. And I think as we develop, you'll see that the Asian and African components will be increasing. The result so far is that we have 53 of the 83 projects launched on SuSanA. That's the resource library and getting the discussions going. And there's web analytics, and I think Dorothy will be giving us some statistics, not only about this, but also about SuSanA in general. We did a little survey in our first report to the foundation. The most popular projects on the forum thus far are in these 5 subtopics. The first one is resource recovery from excreta or fecal sludge. And you can see the project about urea treatment. That is where you're actually using urea to reduce pathogens. And that would then make things safe. And that's from SuSanA Design in Norway and Uganda. Biogas generation, and that's a mixing thing. It's very important to mix if you're going to get good, efficient biogas production. And then an ecosan using lactic fermentation. The interesting thing about lactic fermentation is that's a food microbiological system for preserving foods. The fact is that feces is a later stage, if you like, of digestion in the body. It makes sense to look at food microbiology if you want to do something with feces. And it turns out that you can actually reduce pathogens that way. That was a Philippine project, but there's some really good German work that you're aware of that is actually developing. There's a few groups that have actually succeeded so far with this lactic fermentation system. In the processing technologies for excreta and fecal sludge, there's an interesting windmill-operated wet composting system. There's one on cocoa peat for treating septic tank effluents, and then there's one on self-sustained e-toilet. I'm not sure what that actually is. It's from a company in India. There may be some IT component about monitoring its performance. And then there's a membrane toilet from Cranfield. It's
Alison Parker.
Say again?
Alison Parker.
Alison Parker, yes. And I think she's one of the ones in our next, we'll tell you about that in the next slide. As far as user interface, this whole question of toilets with on-site water recovery, and I guess that's the most high-tech looking thing I've ever seen. That's ecosan. It looks like something that would be found in a dentist's office. It's this blue tower, and it recycles everything. It's from AVAG. They've tried it out in Uganda. Then there's the mobile sanitation services, the fecal sludge transport systems, and finally the business side of things, and that's the Water for People group. And you took a picture of it, and I know why. So John is a fan of SuSanA, and I'm really happy with that collaboration with Water for People. So the latest wrinkle, and I blame it on my own crazy ideas, is that we pull out 4 or 5 of the grantees, and in an hour we ask them to talk about their project, and we discuss it within the team. So the first live webinar was held in July. It was about biogas. And it's a 1-hour project that you can, it's a communication project. And I think these will continue now. They turned out to be very successful. They're recorded. You watch it on YouTube, and you can link up through SuSanA. So the next one's in September. That's where I think Alison. Yeah. So that's the forum. If you haven't used it, it's very user-friendly. It's got the icons at the top to tell you. These are different topics, announcements. The working groups from the SuSanA are there. And you'll become if you like, a social media guru if you get involved with these things. And that's the SEI website. So we have a bit of a history, if you like, on this, and very, very open for collaboration. I think this is an example of what SuSanA can do. If you're a member of SuSanA, you can do your work using SuSanA, working with the secretariat, attracting funds, putting teams together. So there's added value in using SuSanA as if you like, a platform. We did it with this one. I think we can do, many of you can do that as we go and do this together. The latest data from the University of North Carolina is that we have over 4 billion people that are connected or disconnected to dysfunctional or non-existent sanitation systems. That's most of the world, and we need a global dialogue on that. In October, that data will be, if you like, published again by that group at Chapel Hill at the Water and Health meeting. And I think you'll see more and more of this focus towards sustainable solutions. Toilets are not the answer. Toilets are part of the answer. And the main thing is to get people interested in the dialogue on toilets, sanitation, hand washing, and feces. So people talk about it and provide solutions. And without that, if you like, engagement of people, you don't get it going. So it's still the last chapter in human development. I'd like to say that SuSanA is one of the leading platforms globally for this. And we're changing the minds of donors, big UN agencies, etc. And now we have a man from Nepal that just walked in.
No way to sneak in, yeah.
So if there's any questions, please.
Yes, the floor is open for questions. I can give around the mic. We're only 5 minutes behind schedule. That's great.
Oh, good.
Hi, everyone. This is Sasha from Soil, and I just wanted to echo something that Arno said at the end of his talk, which is that toilets are really not the answer. They're part of the answer, and I think that one of the concerns that I've had about the Gates Foundation grants, although I've seen a lot of progress with them, is that I think they focus very heavily on technology, and having the technology is possibly only getting 5% of the way there. It's how do you get people to adopt these technologies? And I think that I'll bring up a specific example, which is one of the projects that Arno mentioned, the transport of fecal sludge in dense urban areas, is a project out of Stanford University, and they actually partnered with Soil in Haiti to do this project. And it was an incredible partnership, and I think that both parties really gave a lot to it. But the issue is, if those funds go to scale up of just the technology and don't go into actual maintenance of the project, we'll be in a situation where we have these great toilets, we're doing a lot of work to get them going, But the actual money for doing the community outreach, for doing the maintenance, none of that is necessarily going to come. So I think that it's really important for the Gates Foundation to focus very heavily also on implementation partners and how are we going to get these technologies out of academia and into the field where people can use them. So I don't know if it was a question, it was more of a discussion starter, I would say.
Thank you for that one. Well, I think you're just right, and that's why we need the 5 criteria, and that's one of them. And I think even if it's technology-centered, it starts a global discussion. And if Gates is doing it, it's different than if I am doing it. So why not?
It's Imad Agi again from Ekolu. Just follow up. I believe that the toilet is the key, actually, to all other solutions. I mean, other issues. Water issues just start with the toilet, so you are spending a lot of water on wasting a lot of water on toilet. Health issues, women issues, food security, everything is connected to toilets. On the other hand, yes, you can invest a lot of money on technology, but the most simple technology you can get, the easiest way to get it to the people. So a lot of technologies are using a lot of high tech, and it's really terrible because you have to teach people how to use. So simple is easy to, I mean, people will just 1, 2, 3, that's it. So that's it, thank you.
I think we urgently have to look at your leaflet to find that simple technology. Which were the other, there were some others. Jonathan, was it you? No, Dorothea?
Yes, it's opening another subject, so maybe some more comments on
I think we have closed that subject.
We'll talk about it more over lunch.
No, but just one remark. I think that's why it is important that these grants are discussed openly on the forum, and I think it can also help, and it has already helped some of them to find some strong implementation partners. But I wanted to ask another question, just for the most popular discussions, are this by view or by replies?
Discussion, yeah, replies.
Replies, okay. So this shows that those have engaged a lot of questions. And thanks.
No, I agree that the toilet is the interface, but if it's not connected to anything, it's a problem. So there's a lot of people that hide and forget and flush and forget, and they have no idea where it goes. So it could be a great toilet, but sooner or later you'll be drinking and eating it, so that's a problem.
Hopefully not for that.
Okay, other voices? Okay, there's somebody who's tried to sneak in, Bhushan. Everybody introduced himself, you have to say a word, but I'll give you the mic, that makes it easier. Okay, your voice is strong, okay.
Yeah, but I have
changed it.
Yes, it's around the globe. Now it's working, it seems.
Change it.
Hi, I'm Bhushan Tuladar. I'm from Nepal. I'm currently working with UN Habitat in Nepal, looking at South Asia, the technical advisor for South Asia, and I'm glad to be here after a couple of years break from SuSanA.
Okay, so what I was just told is that the web stream as well is working, so let's see how many will follow us. And now I hand over to Konrad Tombansen, who is running the Sustainable Sanitation Project of GIZ, and who started as well seeing that now we are past the International Year of Sanitation and before 2015 and the process around that. And so actually, how can we organize ourselves to be well prepared? I think that's the topic, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And can you hear me properly? Was this Nini? Yeah, okay, fine. When I'm talking about this field of sustainable sanitation, I can't prevent you from having a little look at this one. What's up? Can somebody tell me what it is? Yeah, so I was sent, in my previous experience, I was sent by the by the Roman Office of Peculiar Cooperation to do a post-evaluation of one of their investment projects, which was done in central Algeria in the year of 237. This is a VIP and a rainwater inlet. And that is always my slide I put. It's apparently not a technology problem as such, because it's quite some time that we had quite reasonable approaches that were working. Question for SuSanA, was that sustainable? Technically, not bad. You still find the traces 2,000 years later, nearly. Was it sustainable? Oh, there are no more forests around. And the target group also disappeared. So, but let's now come to serious issues. Where is the other one, please? Yeah, that one. They were not so bad. It was flushed underneath. Yeah, the river came through the whole town. It was flushed underneath. Quite good. It was a VIP. Yeah, there was a section for the very important senators and others. Yeah, and there was the public one, which was a bit simpler in design, but not so bad. So when I joined this job I'm doing actually of running the sector program on sustainable sanitation, I by the matter of fact became the secretary of SuSanA. I didn't have so many precise ideas what it was doing. In my former times, I'm more a man of project management and implementation. Like many of program directors in water, made a very big bypass around this very ugly topic of sanitation, saying, if you go into that, the risk that you fail is very high. Why should you do that? Yeah, that's a very bad approach. I understood. So I said, let me invest a bit of my time and my engagement into this field. And I was coming here last year for the first time, and I was thinking, this network, what is it exactly? Do I get it? It's very virtual. It's very nice on the internet. What is the relevance of that? And in our contract of GIZ, where the SuSanA Secretariat is one column, our client, the BMZ, our Ministry of Cooperation and Development, asked us to go into proof of relevance and develop a bit the future. How should it continue? Is it relevant or not? What is the impact of such a network? So there was a lot of question for me. I think now I know a little bit better about it. But when I came here last year, I was asking myself, where is this network going? Are the people in the network asking themselves that question? They have been sitting together, and very often the same core people since 2007, 2008. Is there a new context? Do they need a new direction? What do they want? Yeah, that was my question. And I think I stirred up a little bit the thing by launching, I won't call it a strategy process, but it was something like a strategy process. Probably I needed some orientation myself. So we started that. Why embark on a strategy process? The alliance has been growing, developed. The question was there, what is the relevance of this network? And there was the context that has changed since 2008. In 2008, the concept of sustainable sanitation was very innovative, and I'm always joking, today even Coca-Cola is sustainable. Yeah. Do I still need to talk about sustainable sanitation? Yes, in the system approach, but even Coca-Cola says they are sustainable. So is that still a remarkable distinction? Yeah, I found out later, yes it is, because there was a big difference between no system approach and the system approach. The toilet alone doesn't solve the problem. Yeah? The governance aspect of the whole, the enabling environment, without it, you won't go far, you won't go beyond very nice and relevant pilot projects, especially in difficult environments, and I personally know them better in the African context. So we run this strategy process from this meeting I was talking about in 2012. Then we formed a team to look into status of SuSanA, the relevance. We did that with SICON and in close collaboration with ERWAC and SEI, who have been somehow the founding members of SuSanA with GIZ, we made a core group call. We discussed about it. How shall we organize this process? We made a status quo and member survey in February. What do members think about it? The working group leads, but individual members on the forum. We organized a key stakeholder meeting in Eschborn with the GIZ in April 2013, where we presented the status and designed a bit the process of coming towards a new roadmap. And then we had to draft this roadmap somehow, which we did with, through a think tank meeting in June 2013. It was drafted. Today, it is being presented. Yeah. So, what areas did we discuss in depth? One of the questions in April 2013 was about the financial sustainability options for SuSanA. As you all know, SuSanA is not an association or a registered institution organization. It is just an informal internet platform and meeting forum for people like here, but there is no formal structure about it. So you can also not pay a membership fee to it because it doesn't have a treasurer. It doesn't have an accountant. Yeah, it is not something that you can sponsor directly. You can only go through partners, key stakeholders like SEI and others. And the question we were putting ourselves is what could be the sustaining element in finances for the platform? Should we continue business as usual, donor core funded, or could there be some member in-kind contributions? Could we monetize probably through membership fees or services? Or is there another concept? We have been debating about that, and I'll come to that later. Finally, we found, as it is an informal platform, this kind of membership contributions were not very convincing to us. And also it would create a lot of administrative hassle. Probably every organization has to pay smaller NGOs, larger, 1,000, 2,000 euro or something like that, to generate an amount which is turning about operational costs via us, probably 300,000 euro. That doesn't make sense. It will not be a value added for the core functions of the network. So finally we came back to the system, okay, it would be nicer to have probably 2-3 partners supporting the network like it had been before, like GIZ, SEI. Now the Bill Gates Foundation has come in, BMTF has come in via SEI. We need a sound basis of financing it, probably also linked to opportunity areas that we can develop, like example of the toilet competition going on the platform. That is somehow our role model, yeah. And all that is a little bit for our ministry, for our client as GIZ, as GIZ, that our ministry wants to know how relevant is that thing, and shall I continue to finance it eternally, or what is your vision? Yeah. So this has been the debate. The other point has been some organizational restructuring options. Probably we came to a point, I was coming to a point now, we do a new roadmap. Yeah? This roadmap cannot be developed by all members, not handable. So finally we ended up in this process going towards a sort of think tank, which are key stakeholders of SuSanA and members, prominent members who have been long time in the process, and we sat together, we developed it, yeah? And then, okay, we put it on the forum, we debated here in the SuSanA meeting, there will be some feedback from members who are not present, and it will be like the vision then adopted. You can ask yourself, who is adopting it? The core group members? Who does it? Who is authorized? Yeah. So then questions are becoming a little bit formal, which is not compatible of being an informal network, because there's not a real formal decision. It is like this and that. So we were thinking about these options. Then we said, we are developing in a new context, which is the context of the post MDG discussion. What is the world envisaging in terms of objectives for the next 5 or 10 years, or probably until 2020? We found it very relevant that the network has an influence, that water and mainly sanitation becomes a prominent point and still a point on the agenda. I think this seems to be more and less achieved. It is there, probably a little less prominent than 5 years ago. Not a proper water goal, so distinct, yeah, but it is still there, and I think the network has contributed to it. We are moving in this context. What is the right direction of SuSanA towards that? And we also found that it is necessary to look into the organization and the functioning of the working groups. We have 12. Today, I think, and during tomorrow and the Water Week, 3 or 4 are organizing something, or 5, which is an indicator that not all 12 are so active and organizing something. Yeah, and probably they have been doing their time towards a certain topic at a certain period, and we found it necessary that we go into a discussion how this should be dealt with. Can we regroup topics? Are there new strategic topics that we can handle? Are there new opportunity areas? Can we revise? That is why today we have this point of talking about the working groups, where they are and how we want to continue. Then we were thinking about opportunity areas, and we were looking at in terms of bankable projects. Yeah, that if we want to draw some attention from some partner organizations or donors to support SuSanA, we cannot only ask them to support the running costs of the network. That will be not very interesting for them. We must offer them a topic which is relevant to them, model of the Gates Foundation grant to SEI, and then, okay, by the way, we can get probably the network continuously financed for the next 5-6 years, yeah, if we don't choose another way of financing it. Key outcomes today of this process. One thing which is very interesting, we looked at the SuSanA vision document, which is somehow the distinctive element in joining SuSanA. If you join SuSanA, somehow you say you abide to this vision document and the 5 sustainability criteria. That vision has been worked out in 2008. It is still valid. We did not go into that really. I think this is still a basis of the network, which is quite reasonable. It is valid. And there somehow, the next step, there was a mission statement towards that has been developed on the forum between, I think, November 2012 and early 2013. Then we went into the strategy process and we stopped it. So SuSanA is an open international alliance with members who are dedicated to understanding viable, sustainable sanitation solutions. It links on the ground experiences with an engaged community made of practitioners, policymakers, researchers, and academia from different levels with the aim of promoting innovation and best practices in policy, programming, and implementation. This was somehow the condensed outcome of the mission statement. When we were doing our 2 workshops in April and in June, there was nobody who said he could not live with that one. We can still work another 5 years on it. I don't know if we'll really add something substantial, but there's still room for it. Yeah, the chapter is not closed. Key outcomes. What is the overall goal of SuSanA? Still to contribute to the achievement of current and future international development goals, MDGs, post 2015 MDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, by promoting systems approach to sanitation, taking into consideration all aspects of sustainability. That is somehow the condensed vision of SuSanA, still valid, nothing very new. It is just transferred into the new context of the post-MDG discussion. What are the strategic axes we are working on? It is awareness creation, generation of political momentum to maintain sanitation at its relevance it deserves. What are we working on? The platform, and that has come out very clearly, is one of its most important role is the knowledge provision for planning, designing and implementation. That is where its key function lies. That is where what it is renowned for its rather high standard documents available for everybody, being impartial, not being oriented towards organizations or specific solutions. That one is one of the most important axes we are working on that we should develop, according to me. Then we are identifying and communicating on upscaling. I think our colleague from the SEI has very clearly put the point. That is the challenge. We have a lot of solutions, a lot of concepts, a lot of ways of doing things. If you ask me probably in Africa how many upscaling projects I know better those from GIZ. Whenever I go to the ground, I ask how many people have you reached? There we are still on a rather low level. Yeah, there are very few examples. The Etiquini, then the ONEA, having promoted 150,000 latrines since 1992, without any sludge drying facility, which is being built. Actually, we are not so far ahead in reality. And we have this, also now this discussion about how can we develop probably regional nodes, yeah, to get this SuSanA more closer to the ground and closer to regional priorities and regional actors. Probably, so that's why we have been thinking about promoting eventually hubs probably in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, in Europe, where, I mean, the hub, by the matter of fact, is somehow in the north, yeah, actually. And we felt the necessity to change that, yeah. So roles we have been discussing, the blue ones have remained, and some new have been developed. I think Trevor has already talked about the old ones. I'm not coming to them again. The new one is a more concise vision of knowledge exchange and learning platform. And the other one, the promotion aspect, that is dealing with promotion of sustainable sanitation solutions, but under the aspect also of upscaling. Then some overarching strategic topics in which we are moving and where we could do organized contributions. One is definitely the SDG post-2015 process, ongoing sustainable development goals, discussion to ensure sanitation is positioned significantly. This is, let's say, a short-term, mid-term goal. Then there is the whole complex of the nexus, water, energy, food security, to explore opportunities in this context. Then there was within the discussion also on sanitation goals, this question about the sanitation ladder. That means how can you probably assess a level of sanitation that is reached in a household to put it on the next one. This is very much linked to counting heads, people, counting access, yeah, which is also a necessary demand from donors, from people who finance. What do we achieve? Do we get more people? What is their level of sanitation now? How is that level linked to improvements on health and hygiene, and finally in living conditions? Those are some overarching strategic topics and opportunity areas linked to that, and that we might then advocate for: knowledge management, overviews of research, capacity development initiatives, member activities, promotion and offering free access to sanitation. Yeah, this is one area for which the BMGF grant is also an example, a concise topic, the toilet challenge. Yeah, researchers going around. How can you go from this in-depth research to a large community? Then how to improve discussion collaboration. We have recently developed a platform to integrate other specific working groups, probably in Tanzania, others like the Forum for the Sanitation Network. Yeah, how can we enlarge? How can we use the SuSanA infrastructure to promote communication between researchers, practitioners for specific topics? We can offer services for sanitation and around sanitation events, organizing them, organizing the post-conference availability of documents. The example we had was last year's Durban Fecal Sludge Management Conference 2, where we agreed with the conference organizers, the IRC in the Water Resource Council in South Africa. They gave us all files, all presentation videos, and we organized to put them so that this knowledge is easily accessible. And I think SuSanA has proved a very good platform for that. Yeah. And then there is this idea in this context of establishing regional nodes, regionally based SuSanA nodes focused on the context and regional stakeholders. I've been mentioning that already. So milestones in this process. When you design a roadmap, finally you are saying who you are, what do you want to do, what are your objectives, and what are next steps and milestones you want to achieve. I mean a sort of strategic plan of action. In these milestones we have that we want to try to get investment into these opportunity areas, yeah, from partners to put more dynamics again into SuSanA, increase activity levels by reshaping probably the working groups and according to the present topics, and to establish regional nodes, yeah. Finally, all that turns a lot around active working groups to relevant topics. About the SuSanA bodies, the members, partners, core groups, secretariat, working groups is what has been there. What is new is the idea of working probably like on the strategy process with a task force or task forces concerning strategic topics, probably a task force on how to place sanitation well in the post-2015 process. That was a new idea. Somehow it is not that it has not been there in fact, because I think before, if you would look at the vision process of 2008, there has definitely been a task force developing the vision document. Yeah? Only it was not called task force. Yeah? But this expression was created in the process to create more transparency towards the member, yeah, that there's a group that has been working on a document. It did not fall from the sky, but it was also not elaborated by the secretariat. Yeah? The secretariat is to run the secretariat is more a service function. It is not the strategic function of developing. And before, when I came, I found the mixture between secretariat and being a core group member was mixed, yeah? And I would like to have, I found it reason to have a bit more of separation between the two. So finally we ended up saying task force is a reasonable step, and the secretariat is putting in form and communication and follow up what the task force and the core group have developed. Yeah? The core group is still, according to me, the main somehow decision-making bodies, including the feedback from the members. Yeah? Then we have this idea of regional nodes, which is also not very new as such, but it has yet not been established, and we found it would be useful that SuSanA has probably a prominent link, let's say in India or Nepal or China, somewhere around East Africa, Nairobi probably, yeah, and somewhere Latin America, to get the regional practitioners closer to the network. So here I would have liked to have changed it, saying involved, are you connected? And that's it for the time being concerning the roadmap document. The roadmap document has been circulated, I think, yeah, to all members. It is, let us say, it's definitely not the final. I find it a bit weak still concerning the opportunity areas, because we have not yet got substantial feedback from members what they would like to be treated there. So that means you are really invited to give your input. What do you find a relevant topic that could be included there in terms of developing opportunity areas? This might not be a specific research, a very precise specific research project, but more a topic. I'm probably thinking a lot, what about enabling environment? I call it now sanitation governance. Yeah? If we see in the presentation of Trevor how this is all articulated, it is a lot about research on solutions and systems. Yeah? Then there is a bit of enabling environment, probably with local government, but the area of developing national strategies and implementing financing mechanisms, and that one is, according to me, still a bit short in this whole discussion process. And from my experience, if that one is not there, you will not go beyond 5,000 or 10,000 beneficiaries, and then you are confronted to a national system who has to tell you, yes, that is what we want. And if they don't tell it, it will not spread. So, thank you very much. I think that's it.
Thank you, Konrad.
Yeah, and I would now use this opportunity to introduce my colleague Arne as replacement of myself to the secretariat and as the leader of the sector program, because I'm going to Zambia to run the water program supported by the German government in Zambia by the 1st of January approximately. Yeah, so I'll be more than again a utilizer of SuSanA, and I hope a better utilizer than before. Yeah, so Arne is taking over by coming back to what he has been doing somehow before. At least he has been, I think, even one of the initiators or accompanying persons of SuSanA when it was founded. So I think you know him even better than me.
Thank you, Konrad, on many levels then. So you introduced now to us this process, and it's as well lying on the table this roadmap. If you have grabbed it, you have it. Otherwise, it was more or less as well visualized. I would have myself a number of questions or comments, but and we have eaten up half of our coffee break. Still, and I can sort of ease you that we'll continue to think we're between the International Year of Sanitation and 2015, when there will be a new peak of how can we solve it and we can't solve it, and do we admit it or not. So we're in between, and we're sort of getting ready. And we've done this now, looking at what are the bodies of SuSanA, but the heart of SuSanA are the working groups, and we'll spend some time after the coffee break looking at what have the working groups done and how can they react on that on 2015. But still, I would like to open the floor for a few reactions and questions on what Konrad has presented to us. Are there any? Otherwise, you can... Yes, please.
In the developed world, the linkage between paper and toilets is very strong. We have many forms of toilet tissue and all of that. I come from Wisconsin, home of Kimberly-Clark, a large corporation and all of that. And I'm just wondering, is there a working group that is focusing on trying to break up that connection between paper and the toilet? We have so many problems in terms of sustainability in our lakes because, again, the paper problem becomes a pollution problem.
Okay. So I think we have wishers and wipers, and we have washers, no? And around the globe. There's not always paper.
I understand it's a developed nation problem.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it. But yes, I don't know if this is, your question was, how is this linked to the roadmap process?
I'm wondering, is there a working group that is focusing on those issues, perhaps educating people on how to compost toilet tissue, do work with recyclable toilet tissue and all of that?
Okay.
Many problems again with paper.
In this case, I think that if you look at the presentations of the working groups and then maybe as well on the reshaping, you can make a paper working group. but I think many working groups are dealing in one or the other way with recycling, with paper, with different approaches, with behavior change and so on. So I think that's possible to respond to that. Yes, maybe the mic is just there, so maybe please, Jacob.
Thank you. Related to the roadmap and discussion, to demonstrate success, of course, of the initiative, what I didn't really see here, but probably is embedded here, is the monitoring and evaluation system of the network as such. I don't know how that's, if there is such a system to demonstrate success and the partners and all that. I think it's probably an important area. But then there are two other areas that might think about, and that is even in the SDG process now, there's a major discussion going on how to get new actors on board, and in particular the private sector. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is a foundation, but it sort of comes from another commercial history. But do we have thinking on that, the engagement in public-private partnerships, the stimulation of entrepreneurship in terms of the scaling up idea? It seems to be an area. There's a business group number 9, which I'm curious about, but I don't know exactly how much they're doing on that, but it's coming very strongly now. And there's a lot of new funding in that area. And yes. The other one, the final topic I was contemplating, the use of ICT is clearly something that we are, international communication technologies, clearly something in the platform, but how do we roll that out also? Do we have tools and approaches to reach out to our citizens and consumers on the ground? And this is excellent example of Acquo. I don't know how familiar you are with that, acquo.org. Are we working with them? Because it's an amazing grassroots initiative to really roll out all these interesting tools that we gather to people on the ground and have that interaction. Thank you.
Well, if I can start with Acquo, they were strongly as well building on the work that was developed here in the Sanitation Compendium, which was driven by EAVAC, iconography, logic, and so on. And then, well, Acquo was building quite a lot of that, and there was some communication how that can best be done to everybody's happiness. And I think as well, again and again, we're talking to them. Trevor, you might like to add something on that?
Just to add and perhaps to respond to some of the stuff, I mean, as far as ICT is concerned, we're constantly working on that, and there we've come to the position where it's no point reinventing the wheel. So Acquo, for example, we've been in discussions with them for literally a good 6 months or so about actually looking at whether we can integrate their wiki technology into the platform. And Acquo is also one of the SuSanA partner organizations. So those kind of discussions are taking place, and with as far as the monitoring and evaluation system, it's another initiative that's been worked on, because obviously people they want to know how are you monitoring, how are you evaluating. So that's another area that we are working as much as we can on. The linkage to PPP and private-public partnerships, that definitely is a huge opportunity area. And there, I mean, it's basically call upon the partners and the members that are in the network and say, where you see opportunities, put your hand up and share them with us, talk to us, So we're certainly agreed.
Yes, as well as a response, and as well, we started with about 20 organizations, so we can say decisions are plenary decisions, because if the 20 organizations are represented in the plenary meeting, easy. Now we have 200 plus, and we have this reaching 3,000 individual. So there's a contradiction. At the same time, we started very much, and that's a point I would like to make, that we were before the International Year of Sanitation and said we will have hell of work to do, and we don't. Well, if we don't concentrate now and coordinate now, it will be a lot of rubbish will happen. So coordination was the starting point. And we have absolutely no power to tell our members, you should do this and you should do that, and this is your new topic. So I think in the position where we are now, between the international year and 2015, we as well have very much to concentrate to find out our members and partners, what will they have to do in the next few months and years, and what resulting from what they have to do will be synergies. That's the only thing where we can then try to reshape working groups, reshape topics. And I think it's a success in itself that some of the working groups are outdated because they've done their task. But we'll come to that in depth more. I've lost track. 1, 2, is that right? Okay, maybe you're new to the group, so maybe you start.
Just a little comment to Jacob's remarks. I find these two areas, I find that a good recommendation to the opportunity areas of SuSanA that we can develop, that we can make this the private sector engagement in development more expressive, and think about the communication aspect, the role of communication, of mass communication, because the large examples that we have, like World Toilet Day and things like that, are all about that. So I find it a good remark to look again into the enlargement, and I would be happy to get others in that sense, because I still myself feel that the development of the opportunity areas is still a bit weak. But that's why we are here for. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Yes, I would like to ask Norbert to elaborate a little bit more on the milestones, because it's not clear to me exactly what the first one is about the investments. And I'm looking at the first milestone, 2 or 3 or 5 investments in initiatives. And I wonder if these investments are to be interpreted as the one that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation did. So do they have to be at that scale, or are we also thinking of other types of smaller investments, maybe more at a smaller scale?
Thank you for that question. That's relevant. We are probably the term of investment is not very, very fortunate. Like we wrote it. I mean, what we are talking about is a cooperation and an engagement, and the BMGF engagement is an example for it. I think the BMGF engagement is something like 230,000 euro. It must not always be that. It could be also in another term. I would first look at it from the thematic side. What kind of one end? What kind of partnership is it? Which partner? And what do we want to develop? What is the thematic interest of the partner? And how does that fit in what the network wants to develop? And that is not yet so extremely clear, because we have not, at the end, we might even call it bankable projects, but that is too much project thinking. We are talking about something like that. For the time being, we have cooked it down a little bit, and we call it opportunity areas. We want to be a bit moderate also when we discuss with the partners in a stakeholder meeting on Tuesday, who is interested eventually to support the program, because we need some investment for topic-wise. We cannot only ask them, can you please come in and finance the network, because the BMZ is a bit alone. This is not how we want to approach it. So we call it an investment, because it is investment in promotion of sustainable sanitation with partners, and to support also the network. That's the idea behind it. Thank you.
May I add on that? As I said in the beginning, it was actually just coordination. Out of coordination, something happened we didn't expect in that size, that now we have this 200 organizations and so many individual members. And we have as well, which is I think very well received, this library and knowledge management which is there. So there's now, beyond coordination, is now an opportunity to use what is there. The contradiction is that we are not a juridical person, so you can't use SuSanA as a juridical person. You can only use SuSanA partners and do it on the use the structure that has emerged there, and do take some key stakeholders and do something with them. And that would be a way, otherwise, to as well to continue to grow and to cater to all these who use the knowledge management, the platform, and the things which are done. And so this is bringing it to a new level, you may say. But how that happen is we have to find out. No? It's not the standard quo way that things develop. It's maybe as well not the standard version how to answer to it. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the monitoring and evaluation. It is not so given, since I think we haven't had a common project, so that would have been easy to evaluate. But each one of the partners that have been active has contributed within their projects, and those have been evaluated. For example, the Eco-Sunrest program was evaluated 2011, and the part of the sustainable sanitation, for example, it was something that was highlighted, that it would be interesting to continue because they could trace the successes for some certain items that we had been working with. So, I mean, if everyone would go, if WEDEC, for example, Women in Europe for a Common Future, they probably have their SuSanA contribution as their part, and it's evaluated in these different evaluations, such as also you do. So that's why we haven't had a common monitoring evaluation, but we have this year felt that this was a pity. We should have been more careful of documenting progress and make sure that it's within the documentation of the network.
Jonathan.
I have time for just a couple of comments. I just in relation to the milestones, I support the comment from over there about the investments. I think that's a very valid comment. And just in relation to, I'm looking at milestones 2016, sanitation anchored in the post-2015 discussion. I mean, really by then the 2015 Sustainable Development Goals will be fixed. So we'll be looking at how is SuSanA engaged in taking those goals forward rather than in the discussion. And in the one above, I was just wondering, has there been some kind of more in-depth consideration of what actually constitutes an activity within SuSanA? I suppose what I'm thinking in here is we've got quite a sort of black and white differentiation between activity and non-activity, which leads to us looking at 15%, 20% and 20%. Mm-hmm. So then I'm thinking, well, in terms of membership, we're really looking at membership involvement or engagement in SuSanA. And I'm just wondering if the Secretariat looked at differentiating that in terms of contributing towards a specific output, and that often compounds upon the working group leads, such as myself, saying, so what has your working group actually achieved in terms of a output? But then there are those who have been involved in a kind of review process. So there's a bigger proportion of people who are involved in maybe commenting on some other, but they haven't got time to actually contribute that much to the output itself. But then the biggest group, which we kind of tend to say, well, that's the non-active group, but are they not members who want to be involved in learning? So I'm just thinking, do we not want to focus a bit more attention on those members of SuSanA who want to learn? And I'm thinking, you know, if we look at this impressive list of organisations who are members of SuSanA, I think a lot of them are smaller NGOs who are working in the field, in country, and I just can't help thinking that a lot of those want to benefit from the knowledge and expertise of SuSanA, other SuSanA members, and if we are more proactive in engaging with them, saying, what can we offer you? What you're working in the field, and be more proactive about saying to them, you know, what problems do you have, and how can SuSanA how can we respond to that, I think we might move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we take that as the nearly last comment to have some coffee and continue during coffee then.
Thank you very much. Carl from ACF. I just have a question. I know that SuSanA been quite, the purpose of it was to contribute really to policy changes, and I'm just a bit surprised to see the roadmap that there's no like a specific thematic on advocacy. I'm just wondering, I mean, ACF is working quite a lot on advocacy, and we are trying to get the NGOs in all the water forums and try to have quite a place for the NGOs and in policy making, so especially in the European and worldwide perspective. So I'm just trying and wondering, is this something that we are going out, or is this something that we are doing it with the task force, or well, that's my question really.
Is Arno around? Advocacy, you're the one to answer, I would guess.
Sorry, yeah, no, I think that's just a case of wording. I mean, that new role where we call it promotion, we could also call it advocacy. It's around the same thing. So that's what that new role that we wrote in called promotion currently is sort of trying to get at. So if we decide advocacy is a better word, then we just change it to advocacy, because that was the idea behind that.
So maybe Arno, as the communication specialist, can add
just
on.
to say that you have to unpack that, because I think there's a need to communicate within the sector, between ourselves, and then also try to get the public involved in this. So those are, I think, two different kinds of products. And of course, SuSanA can take both of those on. The other thing, I haven't been involved in the roadmap discussions, but it seems to me that the sanitation sector needs standards to evaluate itself. Quality assurance. And sooner or later there will be this talk about ISO standards for a whole series of different kinds of structures and organizations and engineering. So it's just to say that I think eventually will have to be brought into the discussions. And I think it might as well start with SuSanA. Eventually it'll find its way throughout the world, but there's a need to get this out on the table.
Thank you, Arno, and Konrad is the last.
Probably last. Thank you very much for these recommendations, ideas that I think we can still integrate very, very well. That is why we're here for. Another point, I think it is not bad in the beginning of the roadmap to also slightly mention some of the important achievements that have been promoted by SuSanA. We have been discussing yesterday with Madeleine impact into national policies where ecologic or sustainable sanitation has been anchored, various conferences where these things have been, where the promotion and advocacy has been successful. I think it is good in the beginning of the roadmap to have that, because it shows what we can achieve with that network. Yeah, I take this as a recommendation for myself. Yeah.
Okay,
If you
thank
agree.
you. I'd like to close this session with some delay now. Is there some coffee somewhere? Okay, that's good. So I'm thanking all speakers and others for their contribution. We'll meet again in half an hour. Is that with the management of lunch time? Is that possible, or do we run into trouble then? Who is knowing that? Madeleine?
Okay.
20 minutes?
20
Okay,
minutes.
that means 10 minutes before 12 sharp.